7 years ago this week, Lewis, President Obama got his recovery bill passed. The president was selling it up until the last second when it was signed in Denver, Colorado, even afterwards. We know that at the micro level, this type of demand side stimulus actually works, right? We have no evidence supply side economics works. The idea of cutting taxes on the very rich so that then they reinvest money in the economy. We know that when you cut taxes, you actually create an incentive to save money, not to circulate it in the economy, et cetera, et cetera. Now, with regard to President Obama's Recovery Act, where I come away now, Lewis, 7 years later, is that it just wasn't big enough. I think that specifically 7 years ago, a bigger recovery bill would have actually been more effective. The recovery bill was effective. Republicans still won't admit it. They still want to cut taxes on the rich. They'll want to encourage rich people to just stick money in banks, et cetera. I believe that the recovery bill at the sort of microeconomic level was a good thing. It did good things. And if it was 50% bigger, it would have done even more.
I suppose, maybe, but it did its job. And yes, the bailouts, some of those bailouts helped as well. I mean, some people thought that these companies should fail, even some Republicans. I mean, overall, I think back then his economic policies, they helped revitalize the economy.
Now, as we've spoken about, and this is really the meat of this discussion, we've spoken about this with economist Richard Wolff. At the micro level, demand side stimulus, like these recovery bills, are far better for the economy than supply side economics, trickle down economics, voodoo economics. But more broadly speaking, we really need to rethink the economy, right? Because whether you're talking about supply side or demand side economics at the sort of micro level, the broad economy allows for such a damaging, devastating level of income and wealth inequality. It allows for so much power to be concentrated among big corporations and the top 1%. So we have to, as progressives, think in a more nuanced way. Yes, demand side stimulus makes way more sense than tax cuts for the rich. Yes, an increase to the minimum wage makes much more sense than whatever it is that the latest right-wing policy economic suggestion is. No doubt about it. But at the macro, neither of those policies, neither of those strategies or outlooks alone are going to fix what is clearly an economic system that, broadly speaking, is not working for way too many people.
Yeah. Well, where do you start? I mean, you can
Exactly.
start with work. You can start with wages. You can go to hours. You can go to working conditions. You can go to, then you can move on to taxes. And it's just so much to fix. Where do you start?
By and large, the Obama recovery bill 7 years ago this week, successful. Broadly speaking, these are not the solutions in an overarching way to our economic problems going forward. The online news world is getting pretty cluttered with lots of nonsense. There's the so-called news sites that rewrite news articles, and then there's the websites we all know that we just can't trust. So lately, I've been reading Smashpipe, which is an online magazine whose goal is to surprise, amuse, and tell readers things they don't already know on a wide range of topics in current events and culture. Smashpipe is less interested in trending topics than in what's actually going on, and Smashpipe has no ads whatsoever other than the reader-generated classified ad section, and they never will. Smashpipe is what happens when you, on a bad day, stub your toe on the miseries and mysteries of life. Check it out at